Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It's your girl Kay, and you already know what time it is. Another episode, another recap of the Real Housewives of Atlanta season 16, episode 3. If you're new here, welcome. If you're back for the second or the third time, welcome back. Now, before we get all the way into it, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Hit that notification bell so you don't miss a single drop. Now, let's get into it. The episode begins at Brit's house, and this was a little bit cringe for me. She's with her husband Mike, and they're talking about her in laws coming over. Brit decided that we needed to know about her dating high profile men back in the day because she was in music videos while she was in high school. Now, is that an accomplishment? I don't think so, but hey, it's her story. Brit also tells us that she dated Rick Ross, but Mike is the one because he's regular and in her word, he's husband material. This is what she said. So the family comes over, they sit down, and the server introduces the meal. Now, y'all, kids will really tell your business. Her nephew said, "Wait a minute, lobster tails? Don't you think that's a little too fancy?" That child was so confused, and he's like, "Since when do we eat fancy stuff?" That was funny. So, Brit decides to bring up Kenya at the table, claiming that she was shady at the party. Girl, you are reaching. If Kenya is going to be shady, you will know. But in that moment, she wasn't. She was like, well, she better keep it cute. If she don't want beef with me, right, baby? That man did not care. He said that lobster tastes so damn good. Even your husband thinks you're reaching. Give it a break, Brit. Then Mike's sister asked him, well, how are y'all doing? What's up with the ceremony? Mike said, listen, there's a time and a place for everything, and it's not right now. Can I just enjoy my scallops? I cannot figure this man out. That was really awkward. So then she and her sister-in-law go downstairs, and Brit mentions how important family is to her. She opened up about her dad who passed away and how he had a $2 million life insurance policy, but her mom didn't get it because he passed away before switching jobs. Now hold up. If he had a policy, why didn't she get the money? Did he surrender the policy or did the policy lapse? We're missing some details on that, but anyway, this inspired Brit to start her own insurance agency. She said that she had to start a GoFundMe when her dad passed away, and she doesn't want anyone to go through that. I get very much how difficult that can be because, y'all, the reality is that death and money really changes people. Family will really switch up on you, and that's all I'm going to say about that. Death brings out the worst in people. Anyway, she tells us that she told her sisters, hey, let's all get our coins when she launched the business. And once she decided that she was going to sell the business, her relationship changed with her sisters. Now, here comes Mike interrupting the conversation, and he says, well, the dessert is ready. Brit's like, well, we haven't had much alone time, so we're just catching up. And he's like, but it's strawberry shortcake with a little lemon twist. So, let these ladies talk. Please go away. Porsha and Keli meet up and it's awkward from the beginning. Porsha then called Henisha to help her deal with Keli and her shenanigans. She doesn't have time for it. Keli wanted to meet up to smooth things over with Porsha because she's having a mommy and me event, and these two did not hit it off in the beginning because we already know Keli meeting Porsha for the first time asked her, well, why did you steal that lady's husband? So they're sitting down, they look extremely uncomfortable, and then Porsha tells Keli, look, you have a bunch of personalities and I don't know none of them yet, so I'm not sure what to expect from this sit down. She's in her confessional explaining Keli's personalities louder and loudest, and Kelly's in her confessional like, well, I might have multiple personalities, but she has multiple men.
And I, oh,
Ladies, let's keep it cute. Kelly brings up what Shamea told her at their lunch date, and Porsha is like, wait, my best friend told you to ask me directly at her birthday party? Now, I feel like the way Kelly said that was definitely misconstrued. Shamea didn't mean it like that. From what I saw, she was checking Kelly and saying like, listen, if you want to know something about Porsha, go to her. Don't bring that to me. On the other hand, for me, Shamia shouldn't have entertained that conversation. Period. For me, I would have preferred it if she said, first of all, don't talk about my best friend like that. Right? That should have been the first words to come out of her mouth. Now, I don't know if she said that and they didn't show it, but that's not what we saw. Now, I think they're trying to show us the beginning of the tension between Shamea and Porsha because it came out that they're not on talking terms at the moment. Porsha said in her confessional that Shamea set her up to be ambushed, and I disagree here. Porsha, I love you, but Shamea came to you and she told you what went down. Did she tell you word for word? No. But I do think she was careful with what she said to you because, like you said, she knows you're going through a lot right now. And I feel like in friendships, your friend is already in a delicate place. You treat them with a little bit more extra care, right? And I feel like that's what Shamia did. But anyways, they smooth things over and they laugh about Kelly being Portia's troll. I don't get that. But I'm happy they resolved the issues. Next, we see Drew at the studio and she's recording some music. And I will say though that Drew has a beautiful voice. That girl can sing. While she's singing, Angela, Cynthia, and Kenya walk in. Now, Cynthia, baby girl, what are you wearing? And what's up with that wig? She's thrown whatever that was in her closet and she called it a day. Girl, do better. We know you could do better than that. Anyways, they get to talking about the music, and Drew says the song is about falling out of love. And so Cynthia said, well, I guess that's helping you heal also. She says she's gotten a lot of support specifically from Kenya, but sometimes she just goes into her bubble, and that's very much understandable. Would we have wanted to see the dynamic between Drew and Kenya? I'm not sure if you're going to see it, but it would have been nice to also see how the relationship has blossomed. Anyways, Angela shares how she met her husband Charles, and y'all, apparently he held the elevator for her one day and boom, now they're married. She tells us how she was keeping track of that man because they were neighbors. Now that is exhausting. If I have to keep track of a man's every move, I do not want it. I don't want to be in that relationship. That relationship is not for me. That's an extra job. This is too much. Then here comes Kenya being messy and she asks if Dennis is supposed to be here. And Drew is like, oh, now Drew is always over exaggerating. Kenya asked her, well, did y'all talk about the situation with Porsha? And she said, not talked, but text. Drew, what is talking? Drew, that is talking. What the hell? She then gets in her confessional and says she doesn't even talk to him like that. Girl, stop.
It was all a lie. Guys, it was all a lie. She lied.
Now, Drew, why are you lying? Production rolled that footage back so fast, showing them on the phone. You all know Bravo loves to catch a liar. And for me personally, I cannot stand a liar, especially when it's something so small. What's the point? Just be honest. Drew is saying how she feels like everybody's against her. And Kenya was like, Drew, please don't play the victim. You bring a lot of things on yourself. And I couldn't agree more with Kenya here. Kenya and Cynthia both agree that Drew was wrong and she should have spoken to Porsha first. Drew's reading her text about reaching out to Porsha. So you mean to tell me you could text her but you couldn't call her? Okay, so she told you she was out of town. You couldn't just tell her that in a text? Now, didn't Drew tell us in the last episode that she did tell Porsha? So, which one is it, Juicy Laura?
It was all a lie. Guys, it was all a lie. She lied.
You keep saying you're not a liar. Here's another lie. Cynthia brings up a great point about her ex Leon acting in Kenya's movie and how Kenya called her and asked for her blessing and that it's a respect thing. I guess the viewers are still confused as to why that makes sense. I don't get it, but I understand it. Just tell Porsha that you want to feel with Dennis. That's all she was asking for. But Drew's just not getting it, child. She's trying to convince them that everything is all professional, and it might be. But Kenya is like, girl, you're being talked about like you're a WHORE. Angela chimes in and said, well, they met with Shamea and she went off on her because she told Shamea about bringing up the information to Drew. Now, she said Shamea asked Drew if she was effing Dennis. And again, production showed us that this is not what Shamea said. These ladies are definitely stirring up the pot, but Drew tells us that Porsha reached out to her to talk, and I cannot wait to see those two sit down. Over at Sterling Hall, Shamea is sitting with her sisters and she's telling them everything that she's been going through, and she tells us how supportive her sisters have been, and we love to see that. It's really important to have a supportive system, a solid support system, and many people unfortunately don't have that. So Shamea, girl, you're blessed to have people in your corner helping you or just helping to make your load a little lighter. She gets really emotional talking about how crazy things have been for her, and I really feel like it's probably not the right time for her to have another baby. Now, that's not up to me, of course. This is my opinion. But she already has so much on her plate. And I'm sure her husband would understand. I get that she wants to make him happy. But when it comes with a price, I think that's when you really need to put it on pause. Your body is already going through so much. And us women, that's the truth, just from what we go through on a monthly basis, to just dealing with life, stress, all of our emotions, all these things affect the way our bodies function. So, girl, do not put your body at risk because these babies need their mom. Now, she did mention doing surrogacy, but this too is a discussion to have because, as we know, baby Shiloh is taking all of her time and she's always up and down at the hospital, and you're already stretching yourself thin. Honey, it's okay to slow down, but don't let your body force you to slow down, Shamea. Meanwhile, over at Angela's investment property, Charles shows up after she done carried all the heavy stuff into the house. So, why are you even there? Angela said Charles invested his money, so she's trying to show him that he can trust her more with her real estate endeavors. Angela, girl, didn't you just say the last episode that you were self-made? So is Charles investing in you after you became self-made? Make it make sense. Last week, you made it very clear that you didn't need his money, but now, suddenly you're out here trying to prove yourself so he'll keep investing in you or in your business. Before you come for Shamea calling her a lapdog, take a moment and look up what self-made means because this ain't it. Now in her confessional, she starts talking about back in 2017, Charles Oakley got kicked out of the Knicks game because the owner doesn't like him. Now, is that the full story? Because from the clips that I have seen or what is shown on social media, we see a confrontation and Charles pushed that man. He was fighting security. But anyways, she says Charles was upset. He wasn't healed and she couldn't heal him. So they ended up separating. Mind you, they were newlyweds when that happened. So you're telling me that y'all were barely out of the honeymoon phase and you're already living separately? That's crazy. And now, years later, you think a vow renewal is the perfect solution? Girl, what? How did him getting kicked out of a stadium lead to you moving out? And what does that have to do with renewing your vows? Then says that Charles wants to wait on the vow renewal. And the way he was talking, it sounded like he wasn't even sure they'd be together in a few years or that he even wants it to happen. He's like, well, we'll see. Oh, that's a long time. So what? Meanwhile, Angela tells him she's been seeing a therapist and he jokes that she should be getting a discount by now because she pays $3,000 a month. Well, at least she saw the need to be in therapy and she's getting the help that she needs, and I hope he's getting the help that he needs too. Next, we see Drew meeting with her lawyer. And why does she look like she's attending a funeral? Is that a corset or a blazer? Stick to one. Is this a moment like the girl from Love is Blind season 8 where, what was her name? I think her name was Kylie and everybody was talking about her outfit. Drew, get it together. They were talking about the divorce and Drew mentions that Ralph didn't have a lawyer. He came down to the courthouse representing he came out to the he came down to the courthouse representing himself. Now Ralph, what the actual hell? What type of clownery is this? First, y'all race each other down to the courthouse, and now he's attorney at law, Ralph. Lord, give me strength. According to Drew's attorney, Ralph showed exactly who he is in court, a manipulative, controlling husband, and that confirms exactly what Drew has been saying all along. Drew tells us that it's been a year and a half since she filed, but the lawyer says the goal is to get Ralph out of the house so they can sell it. But here's the thing, the judge let Ralph stay in the basement because he claimed he cannot afford another house and a mortgage. And Ralph hasn't submitted all of his documents. I'm guessing his financial statements because guess what? Apparently half of the documents he submitted are Drew's and they don't really know for sure if he cannot afford another home. Drew said that they cannot come to a verdict until Ralph submits his financial report. She then tells us that Ralph has access to all her financials, but he will not share his. Now, I can attest that this is true. I was a legal assistant, so I know a little about the legal field. So when you're going through a divorce, there's a process called the discovery process. And you have to disclose all of your financial information, including all of your bank accounts and all of your incomes, no matter where it's coming from. Essentially, all of your bills, right? So then we get into the real tea. The sealed court records are about to be unsealed and it's about to expose everything. The lawyer says Ralph is a serial cheater. He's taken money out of Drew's account. He's been sexting other women and the women have been reaching out to his wife. He's been stalking her, tracking her movements. Now, this is a lot. This is just not toxic. This is scary. That is all alleged, right? Drew is breaking down in tears. She's scared that all of this mess is going to be public and their children will see it. And honestly, my heart really broke for Drew in that moment because we already knew Ralph was shady, but hearing all of the details, for me, it was a little bit too much. So I can only imagine what she's feeling and what she's going through. And she also has her children to protect. But did you see Ralph clapping back at Drew after he saw the second episode? That man now has a podcast and he's about to pull a page from Simon's book and tell it all in the basement. This is about to be very messy. Next we see Shamea on the way to the hospital with her daughter Shia. She has to have surgery, and we're happy to hear that the surgery went well. And next we see Porsha and Miss Diana, and they're having a little pampering day, and she's talking about her divorce and how much it has been so draining to her. Her mom says that Simon has always presented himself to be her protector. When? Where? We didn't see that. But now Portia's on an island by herself. So Portia shares that she has reached out to his people and they do not want to intervene. So anyway, she brings up how Shamea took her out to have fun, and she told her about the conversation between Brit and Keli. And Miss Diana said, well, why is she telling you negative stuff if she's trying to make you feel better? Now, Miss Diana, I have to stop you right now. You're instigating. Shamea was being a good friend, so please stop it. Do not fool Portia's head with the BS. Portia says that Shamea was just standing up for her, but Portia, I'm gonna need you to say more than just it is what it is. Because people have been saying that your friendship is one-sided, and in this scene I can see that you should have defended Shamea more because you know she has always had your back. So you needed to check your mom on that. It's the day of Keli's Mommy and Me event. Now she kept on saying Balman, but I thought it was Balmain. Which one is it? Am I pronouncing it wrong? I know I'm from the Caribbean and we pronounce words differently, so I don't know. But we see Kenya and Brooklyn, Porsha and PJ, and they have matching outfits. That was really cute. So then Porsha tells us that she and Drew had the same makeup artist, and apparently Drew was being super slow, so the makeup artist couldn't get to Porsha. Couldn't get to Porsha on time. Drew was being petty. Cynthia and her Bob walks in and the other ladies arrive. Brit comes in and praise the Lord. Thank you, Jesus. She got a hug from Kenya. Brit, are you happy now? I hope you don't continue to bring up how Kenya was being rude to you or she was being mean or whatever else you wanted to say. You got your hug. You should be happy now. Shamea. Shamea's funny. Oh my god. She's mimicking Angela's nose. But anyways, Keli tells us about the foundation. She tells us that 3 of her daughters have been diagnosed with a genetic disease. And y'all, for the life of me, I cannot pronounce the word. So I'm not even going to try. But it's known as brittle bones disease. She first noticed something wrong with her daughter's arm. So she went to the hospital, and next thing you know, the police and CPS are waiting for her because they thought she was abusing her daughter. That was really sad. But when the doctor looked at her daughter's eyes, she saw that she had OI. And so she's bringing awareness to parents because this has had such an impact on her and her family. And this was really a sad story. No parent wants to go through that. And it was really a nice moment, and I got to see a softer side of Keli, and I like that side of her. Now here comes Drew waltzing in 66 minutes later. Now y'all were on Porsha's neck at the birthday party. Keep that same energy with Drew. They didn't. So Kenya's like, well, have you spoken to Porsha yet? She's right there. Drew's talking about, well, I mean, if I run into her naturally. Girl, y'all are in the same boutique. She's right there. You are going to run into her. Just say you're scared or you prefer not to spoil Keli's event or something. But don't give us what you're trying to give us, or you don't want to force the conversation. Come on now, Drew. Then we see Angela and she tries to talk to Shamea, but Shamea really wasn't having it. Angela starts off by saying, I know we got off on a bad foot, and Shamea responds, yeah, we did. So Angela says, well, I want to know if we can talk. And so Shamea's like, I want to speak to Angela, not Drew's representative. Angela claps back and says, well, that was Angela. And so Shamea said, oh, So you do speak on Drew's behalf. So Angela's like, yes, I will. So Angela, y'all called Shamea a lapdog because she stood up for Porsha. But now you're doing the same thing for Drew and it's okay? Girl, bye. So then Shamea says, you know what? I'm good on you. And she walks away. Tell me why Angela calls her a mean girl. Girl, you should have left Shamea alone. She was done with the conversation. Clearly, it's not the right time for y'all to talk. Shamea is already dealing with a whole lot. She doesn't want to talk. She calls Shamea Shamina. And they're going back and forth. And Keli was like, y'all need to get it together. Not here, not right now. Now, Shamea was pissed and you could tell she wasn't letting it go. She tells Angela she needs to get her nose she needs to get her nose shaved down, and Angela's like, well, they need to get your nose out of Porsha's behind. Lord. Then Porsha comes over and says, I heard you were talking about people's looks. And Shamea straight up admits, yeah, I brought up her nose and she called me Flavor Flav. So we're even. Now, Shamea didn't seem too bothered by the Flavor Flav comment. You know, she was like, yeah, I was Flavor Flav for Halloween. But then she's like, I didn't know she was going to be LaToya Jackson today. Now, why is Brit in her confessional saying she does look like she does look like LaToya Jackson? I cannot with these girls. On the other side of the room, Shamea apologizes to Drew for calling her out. They hug it out and discuss it. Keli then tells us that she raised $30,000 and the money is going to the OI Foundation, which is great. I think she did a wonderful job with bringing awareness to OI. So now Drew finally ran into Porsha naturally and asked if she wants to talk. Now Brooklyn's talking to Porsha. Drew's daughter is trying to get her attention. Drew, it's not the right time. I don't think she meant at the event. Porsha said she wasn't feeling well because they had to meet up and she hasn't been well. So she might have wanted a sit down away from the group. I think she did tell her, let's do next week. But Drew's like, I'm here now, let's talk. And Porsha wasn't having it. So, y'all, that's it for this recap. What do y'all think of the episode? Comment below and let me know what are your thoughts on episode 3 of The Real Housewives of Atlanta. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Guys, as always, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.
Kay
Bye.
Unscripted, no teeth restricted.